Hammocks Beach, it actually started out as a legal case. It really started out almost as a trust and estate case because it involved an area called Hammocks Beach near Swansboro, beautiful, beautiful coastal land that had been purchased 70 years ago by a neurologist, a neurosurgeon in New York. And he, instead of giving it to his children, he gave it to the African-American gentleman who was sort of his guide and assistant and somebody that he had become very close to. And he wanted to give it to this guide and his wife. And the wife was an African-American teacher, and she wanted the land instead to go for the benefit of young people and for African-American teachers. At that time, of course, beaches were still segregated. And so, interestingly, my boss, Mr. Charles Francis, actually went there as a young child and ended up representing the heirs of this guide and his wife, because the land was set aside for those purposes, but there was a provision in the will or in the deed that if the land ever was not being used for those purposes, that it would be offered to the state. If the state declined, then it would revert to the heirs of his own children, grandchildren, and so forth. The land was offered to the state. The state turned it down. It was supposed to go to the heirs, and then the state stepped in and tried to take it without any compensation from those heirs. And that is really the work that our firm did in trying to correct that. There's nothing more, there are few things more elemental in terms of property rights than this notion. It's written into our state constitution, it's written into the U.S. Constitution, that if the government does take your land, there needs to be just compensation.